seeing how far past that, theoretically, Boston goes. They still have moves to make. And it is unreal the amount of money that the Boston Red Sox are spending. As I said before, I just, unless somehow the Red Sox can move Hanley Ramirez to sign JD or another slugger with them sitting at $207 million, I just don't know how you do it. You're going to have to trade somebody. You're going to have to trade Kimbrel, Hanley Ramirez. Jackie Bradley Jr. could probably bring you in something. He's got a little value for what he brings to the table and his age. But the Red Sox are limited. Their payroll sits at $207 million. They're never going to get under that threshold. They're going to be paying fines. That's a huge option off the board for Hosmer. Now that the Red Sox have locked up Moreland. And as crazy as I thought it sounded the other day, it doesn't sound so crazy anymore to see Eric Hosmer in San Diego, does it? I mean, really. Although if I'm the Padres and I have a history of being cheap, why wouldn't I just go after Adrian Gonzalez? It's hometown boy. You've already had him there before. He'd be much cheaper than Eric Hosmer. I don't know. This Eric Hosmer, Moustakas thing, I don't know where these guys are going to end up. Maybe one or two of them go back to Kansas City. Which that'd be good for baseball, actually. I don't know if it'd be good for them, though. They want that loot. The Atlanta Braves improved their their outfield defense tremendously just by getting rid of Matt Kemp. They were able to shave like $22 million off their payroll for next year. They added a veteran starter in Brandon McCarthy, possibly two if Scott Kazmir's hip heals. And I think Culberson's a really nice little player there. Getting rid of Kemp and his outlandish contract, I mean, that was just a blessing from the heavens above. Especially with all the international signing players and all the rule breaking and punishment that has been delivered to the Atlanta Braves. That just couldn't have come at a better time. So maybe the Braves are be players in the Bryce Harper, Manny Machado sweepstakes next year. If those two don't get signed by a club this year. The Rockies, I've been pimping it out all week. They signed Brian Shaw. I think that's a good arm. Another Cleveland Indians player that has left Cleveland. I'm not saying it's time to panic in Cleveland, but what the fuck, dude? And the Rockies have signed Jake McGee. And they've also signed Brian Shaw. They're shoring up their bullpen. You notice the little pattern here? Teams are shoring up their bullpens. They're spending $13 million for 2 years, and it's a bargain, and they're shoring up the bullpen because they know there's not a lot of pitchers out there. So everybody better get their bullpens together, and you better get it right. Shaw is set to make $7.5 million in 2018, $8.5 million in 2019, $9 million in 2020. So that's 3 years, $27 million guaranteed. He's a 7-year career bullpen guy. He's played for the Snakes and the Tribe. He's got a career 3.13 ERA. He averages 8 strikeouts per every 9 innings. And here's a little slice of trivia for your brain. Wrap this around your cerebellum. Between the years of 2013 and 2017, Brian Shaw leads all pitchers with 442 appearances. So he's got a rubber arm. He's a 25th. He was ranked 25th best free agent out of the crop this year. His 50.6 ground ball ratio, that should serve him well in Coors Stadium, right? You don't want a fly ball pitcher in there. You want somebody that's going to make him jam it into the ground. So the Rockies, who were a much improved baseball team over the past 2 years, they got a little core with Nolan Arenado and Charles Blackmon, and now their pitchers are starting to come around. They also re-signed Jake McGee, 3 years, $27 million. Had a 3.61 ERA last year. He averages 9.1 Ks per 9. So, look, between him and Brian Shaw, late in the game, you can expect for a lot of bats to be missing balls. It's going to be a lot of strikeouts. 40.5% ground ball ratio, which, you know, I'm a big fan of that in that stadium. The Rocks are still in the market for a closer, though. I mean, they're desperate to get a Zach Britton, a Holland, or a Wade Davis. I mean, they got to get it done. They got to get a closer. All in all, though, I'd say in the offseason, I'd have to give them a B as well. I think the Rockies have done a really good job. The Philadelphia Phillies. They're going through some growing pains. They've been very aggressive in this offseason. You would think that the Philadelphia Phillies are a contender. That you would think they just jumped right over the Mets and the Nationals, and they were like, F you, I'm giving you the finger, I'm taking first place here. You notice how I didn't even mention Miami, right? The Phillies are serious. They are serious in their pursuits this year. They're asking about everybody. No one is off limits. The training wheels have come off. They've signed Santana, Tommy Hunter, Pat Neshek. They've pretty much thrown caution to the wind. And look, they've made overtures to the Blue Jays about Marcus Stroman, Kansas City's Danny Duffy. Everybody wants Chris Archer in that 4-year, $32 million contract. Everybody wants that. I mean, they've even inquired about Manny Machado. Now the Phillies do have a big chip in Sixto Sanchez, their flame-throwing right-hander who is just lighting it up down in Lehigh Valley. But he's a couple years away. He's lower A. And they got to get something with Aaron Nola. Because Aaron Nola is he looks like a really good young pitcher. The upside, the ceiling on him is ridiculous. So we're going to try to get somebody in there, lock him up, have a good 1 and 2 with that improved offense. Now that Santana carries a big bat in that house. I'd really like to see Maikel Franco kind of pick his game up. You know, highly touted phenom a couple years ago. And you'd really like to see him up his game this year. And I believe he can. Look, Freddie Galvis, it took him a couple years to up his game. You know what? I'm going to give the Phillies, I'm going to give them a B. I'm going to give them an A. Because you know what? It takes balls to ask for these pitchers. And to ask for Manny Machado and say, look, we don't care. We'd like to have that 72-hour window, but if we can't get it, we'll just take him anyway. I think Gabe Kapler seems intent on changing that culture in filthy. Good things are coming for the Philadelphia Phillies. The San Diego Padres are dangling Jervis Solarte as trade bait. And I believe a couple weeks ago, Mikey Franks asked me what I thought the Pirates should do about their third base situation. And we all know the Pittsburgh Pirates are, I mean, let's admit it, they're a little bit frugal, right? We all know it, right? I mean, in a perfect world, you want to go after Manny Machado. You want to go after Eric Hosmer. But I think we know that's not going to happen, right? So maybe you make a deal for Jervis Solarte. He's really cheap. He's controllable for 3 years. I mean, look, you can't buy that kind of happiness, baby. Controllable for 3 years. And he's got a buyout. I don't know. I think Solarte is the kind of player maybe that the Buccos should look after. I think it's going to be interesting with the Padres now that, Boston Red Sox are out, so Hosmer's been tied for some reason to the San Diego Padres. So, what do I know? It could be a very exciting thing going on in San Diego right now. Over in the Lone Star State, Arlington, Texas. Martin Perez is expected to miss at least the first 5 months of the season after undergoing surgery on a fractured elbow. He's a southpaw. God, do the Texas Rangers have any other pitchers besides left-handers? They just got Matt Moore, Cole Hamill, Mike Minor, Martin Perez. The Rangers pitching staff is kind of like me on a good day. A little bit older, always eager, and leaning to the left. You feel me? Apparently, the southpaw injured his non-throwing elbow on his ranch in Venezuela when he was startled by one of his bulls and fell on his arm. Now, wait a minute. Why is this guy fucking around with bulls in Venezuela? That's what I want to know. What's wrong with you? You're a Major League Baseball player. What does he make a year? Whatever he makes, he should be able to afford somebody that can fuck with bulls all day. What are you doing, dude? He was startled by one of his bulls and he fell on his arm. I mean, wow. Martin Perez went 13-12 last year with a 4.82 ERA, 32 starts. And with Yu Darvish assumingly headed out the door. I mean, that's just not good, man. You got to use your brain, man. You can't train stupid. Wow. I mean, I just can't get over that. That kind of reminds me of when Marty Cordova was on the Orioles. And